Hello and welcome to Williams Dog Training Company. We're here today with Fred and Ranger, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is Ranger's ability to understand and respond to his obedience commands, the corrections and motivations that we give the dogs while we're working with them, and also the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot training leash, and he's going to keep the bulk of that leash folded neatly in his right hand, leaving his left hand free then to give the correction. And the correction that we give is a tug and release on the training collar, which is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Ranger has been fitted with his own personal training collar, and we will show you how to properly put that collar on and use it during your one-on-one lesson. Now Ranger is sitting very nicely on Fred's left-hand side, and that's where all of our obedience training takes place. The first command that they're going to demonstrate for you is heeling, and heeling is proper walking on a leash. The command that you're going to give is Ranger heel, and you're going to simply start walking, and you'll notice that Ranger has been trained to walk very nicely on your left-hand side at your pace. Whether you're walking at a faster pace or a slower pace, he should not be lagging behind on that leash nor lunging ahead and pulling. We've also gone ahead and incorporated an automatic sit into the heeling exercise. So anytime that you're out and about and walking with Ranger and you stop, he's been trained to sit very nicely right there at your left heel position, and he should remain seated in that position until you give him another command. And you will see those automatic sits throughout the video here. Now the next command they're going to demonstrate for you is the stay command, and it's a hand and voice command. Use the open flat of your left palm in front of his muzzle and the one-word command to stay, and then out to the end of the leash. With your long sit stays, Ranger should remain seated in his position throughout the entire command and should not break. You're going to want to practice your sit stays often at home to help build up the ability to sit and stay for longer periods of time. Start with short time increments of around 30 seconds to a minute, and upon his success, you increase your intervals, working up to a total of 3 minutes for your long sit stay. When Fred returns back, he walks all the way around in a counterclockwise motion, returning back so that Ranger is once again on his left-hand side in heel position. Ranger receives some praise for a job well done, and they're going to go ahead and demonstrate their heel sit and stay again. Throughout the video, you'll see Fred using lots of positive reinforcement to let Ranger know that he's doing a good job completing his commands appropriately. It makes it fun and motivating for the dogs when they know that they're doing a job well done. Excuse me. So Fred went ahead and left Ranger in another sit stay. He'll give him a moment to practicing holding it. And now they're going to go ahead and demonstrate the recall or the come on command. The command you give is Ranger come. He's been trained to get up, come in and sit right in front of you. Nicely done. And then he returns to heel position, heeling around the right side of you, the back, returning to your left hand side, sitting nicely, waiting for his next command. And they're demonstrating that again for you.
Ranger, come.
It's important to make sure that when he comes in, he sits. This is to promote the appropriate behavior, sitting appropriately to get greeted versus jumping up. Very nicely done. When Ranger comes home, you're going to make sure that you're practicing your commands both indoors as well as outdoors to help generalize in both environments. So at first when he comes home, you might want to try picking an area with little to no distraction till you get the hang of things. And Ranger gets settled back in doing his transitions, and then you can start to increase distractions into your training sessions. Now the next command they're going to demonstrate is the first of our down commands, the down from a heel position. Again, use the open flat of your left palm straight down towards the ground and the one-word command to down, and then give that stay command and out to your end of your leash. And with the down command, of course, he should remain laying down throughout the entire command and not break. You're going to want to practice your down stays frequently as well. And with your down stays, again, start with short time increments. And upon success, increase your intervals, working up to a total of 5 minutes for the long down stay. And Fred returns back the same way, counterclockwise, walking all the way around and behind. A little praise there. Good job. Also, when Ranger comes home, you're going to want to set aside about 10 to 15 minutes every day to work him through his commands in a formal obedience training session. You are going to be incorporating your commands through everyday activities in your schedule and everyday life. But again, set aside about 10 to 15 minutes every day, whatever time works best for you, to work Ranger through his commands in a formal obedience training session such as this video. It's great practice for the both of you and will help with the transition of his new commands back into the house with his new rules. Another down stay for you. I'll give him a moment to hold it. And then instead of returning back to heel position, I'll demonstrate that recall or come on command from the down position for you this time.
Ranger, come.
Gets up, comes in nicely, sits, great job. It's a very good boy. And again, with your praise, you can either use verbal praise, tell him good boy, great job, way to go, or you can use some physical praise where you give him a little pat on the head there. And this last command that they're healing into position to demonstrate the second of our down commands, down from a distance.
No.
Fred left him in a stay and he went into a down, so all he did was tell him no, and he just healed him out of it. Easiest way to get the dog out of it, down and back into a sit position. So Fred leaves him in a sit stay, out to the end of the leash, and from the end of the leash is the only time you're going to use your right hand to give the down command. And Ranger should go into a down directly where he is sitting. Very nicely done. Now we will show you how to correct him for any inappropriate behavior or if he's not completing his commands appropriately during your one-on-one lesson. But he did such a good job here. We'll show you during your lesson. We've demonstrated all the obedience commands that Ranger has learned here at school. It's been a pleasure working with Ranger. He was a pleasure to have and a good boy. We ask you to keep us posted on his progress on his return home, and we thank you again for choosing Williams Dog Training Company as your personal dog trainer.